Welcome to What's the Scenario with PLRB, where we explore claims and coverage scenarios relevant to insurance professionals. I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
Hi, Brendan. I'm Mike Brode.
I'm Tim Havler.
All right, Tim, what's the scenario?
The insured's kitchen sink wasn't draining very well. They called the plumber came out, camera scoped the line. He found tree roots had wormed their way into the pipe and blocked most of the flow. The only solution is to dig up the pipe and the lawn and replace the pipe and replace the lawn. The claims adjuster dutifully and diligently looks through all of the exclusions in the policy, ISO HO3 2011, but he doesn't see any exclusion, at least specifically, that says damage caused by tree roots. He's wondering, I wonder if any other exclusions apply. And today, I am half law library and half green screen, so
Nice.
Brennan, you can put up whatever you want, surprise me, on the half of my screen.
All right.
But first, we're going to do a trivia question.
I have one question, though, before you get to trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody died in this episode? Are we past the death and destruction?
Oh, that was last week. That was the murder mystery. This
Thank
time,
you.
everyone's safe and sound, but the kitchen drain line is going to die a painful death.
Well, when they dig up those tree roots, Mike, they're going to find something.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be the next episode.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Boy, you do one Morbid episode and then you're stuck with it.
I know.
Two more after that.
Set a trend.
Mike, you've been a little bit disappointing on trivia lately, I got to say. So hopefully I got one in your wheelhouse here.
All right.
Okay. By volume, not by height or width or anything else, by volume, what is the largest living tree in the world?
By volume. Jeez, oh, Pete.
Well, yeah.
I would need like by circumference or something. I don't know.
There's only one big tree that anyone knows of.
There's tons of sequoias.
Yeah,
mountainous trees out west.
What's the famous one?
You saying Methuselah is the famous one?
Oh,
But
no.
I think there's one. There's like a petrified tree or something where it's like many trees. I don't know anything about it other than that. That's as far as I can get.
I'm going with old grandpa's tree out
Oh.
in Kentucky.
No one has ever heard of the General Sherman?
Oh,
Afraid I have not. No.
okay. Is that a sequoia?
It's a
type?
sequoia. Yeah, it's in California.
Well, I was partially right then. I said sequoia in California.
275 feet tall.
Wow.
Wow.
January 26th, a branch with a 6.6 foot diameter branch broke off.
Wow.
Which is larger than most tree trunks.
How would you figure out?
Like, have you ever been to visit the sequoia trees in California?
I have not. That's certainly on my bucket list. Our family is diligently saving for some sort of an RV again so that we can head out west. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I've never been out to see the mighty sequoias. So yes, Tim, that's definitely on my bucket list. So thanks for reminding me that, yeah, it's on my bucket list and I haven't been there yet.
Very good, very good. And RV, I'm jealous. That sounds like the retirement life to me.
I can't wait.
Okay, so going from big trees to small trees, we got a tree root loss. These are pretty common, especially with drain lines. You see it the most. Less so. Oh no, I would say sidewalks is probably the most common, and then drain lines, and then maybe foundations. It seems like water supply pipes, they must be more resilient because you don't get many of those.
And they're small.
Right.
Drain pipes. Yep.
Now we said we didn't have a tree root exclusion in this policy. That exclusion does exist. It can be written into policies. I don't see it that often. Every once in a while, someone will send me a policy and it'll be in there. If it's in there, as I've said a million times on this podcast, if you write an exclusion and it's written clearly and it's not against public policy, odds are pretty good that a court is going to interpret that as you intended. But we can't rely on that in this one. So we have the standard ISO form, got a bunch of exclusions in there, which I've provided for Brennan and Mike. And we're seeking out opinions if any of these might apply to this loss. And I'm going to give you a clue. I don't want this to be a trick question, but we've talked in the past about a unnamed exclusion in the policy, which is also one you might want to be thinking of.
Malicious mischief?
Only if the dwelling was vacant for 30 or 60 days. It wasn't vacant. I know that tree had bad intent, but still.
And speaking of bad intent, intentional or expected? The tree was thirsty and it purposely made its way into the drain pipe, plugging it. So that's intentional.
Intentional loss for the named insured's actions. Did we write the tree as a named insured?
It was named General Sherman, so maybe.
Yeah, we do give trees names. Okay. Point taken, but still no.
No. Okay. Brennan?
How about wear and tear? I feel like if you have, wind or something over the course of time, the road stuff, that's wear and tear. It seems like a force of nature. So, over time, it's causing problems. So, I don't know. I guess it's a living thing, a little bit different from, like wind or force that, but it still seems like nature slowly ruining something over time.
Okay, good. And this goes with the unnamed exclusion, which is fortuity, which is all first-party property policies have an implied exclusion of them of fortuity, meaning we don't cover things that are expected to happen. And so just like wear and tear exclusion, it's for things that are expected to happen. The famous phrase is insurance covers risks, not costs. So like your roof is going to get UV light and hail and not a big hailstorm that causes major damage, but over time the elements take their toll, and after 20 years or so, then that roof is probably expected to be about at the end of its life. That's a cost. So when the insurance contract is signed, the insured should know that there are certain things, it's implied that we are providing coverage for risks. Now, what's the line here? It's not easy. I like to imagine scenarios on one end of the spectrum or the other, just to kind of give me some context of where I'm going with. So with the tree roots, imagine there's a tree that's, I don't know, middle age-ish, and it's growing right next to the sidewalk. You can see that when you buy the house or sign the insurance contract. You can see that, it's there. As that's going to get bigger, and there's a good chance it's going to cause some problems. On the other side, most homeowners probably don't know where their drains are.
Right.
And what if they only have maybe one small tree on the property? And, what are the chances that this small tree is going to cause me any sort of problems for as long as I'm living in this house? So it's definitely less of a known thing. I don't really have a clear answer there. The bottom line is, do you think that tree root invasion was more like your roof wearing out, or more like an unpredictable risk that would have been hard to see in advance? So Brandon, that is the unsatisfying answer to your proposition of the wear and tear exclusion and fortuity.
Sounds very fact intensive. Yeah.
Yes. That's not the only ones we can think about. See any other ones on the list?
Inherent vice? What's that even mean, Tim?
Yeah, is this an evil tree?
Right.
Yeah, I want to know about this one.
It's out there smoking in the front yard, causing all sorts of damage.
Inherent vice is usually when there's something wrong with the property itself. So say the pipe corroded early because it was manufactured improperly. Then you could think of inherent vice.
Okay. Earth movement?
Very interesting. And now, do you see? Yes. So, the issue is Earth movement.
Yes.
Yes. So Mike says tree roots are part of the Earth,
Right. They're
and
in the
Brennan
earth.
says,
Well, they're in the earth, and okay, we're gonna make this work. The tree roots put pressure on the dirt,
Right.
and they push the dirt against the pipes, and they are
Causing an
moving.
opening.
Anything there?
Okay, so you're saying there's a thin layer of dirt between the root and the pipe,
Yeah,
so the Earth is moving.
it's in the dirt. It's moving stuff around. Yeah,
Or alternatively, you just say that the root is part of the Earth. I don't think that's a bad argument. I don't know that it would succeed. There's not a ton of case law on what is Earth. There's one in Oklahoma. There was sand fill below the dwelling. Court says that was not Earth for Earth movement. But tree roots. Where do you draw the line? It's rocks inside the Earth. You would say are Earth. What about like grass roots? Or, I mean, I don't know. I could go into court and make that argument. Again, there's not a lot of clear yeses or nos on this one, other than if you had the tree root exclusion.
I'm gonna go watch an episode of Captain Planet, and if the Earth character could move plants, then I think we're good.
There you go.
Yeah, but if it can
Use
only
that
move
argument
dirt,
in court. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. If I were the judge, I would smile on that argument.
Yes. Unless he's a fan.
Okay, there's one more.
Okay,
There's one more that I would at least, again, I'm imagining myself in defense counsel role here and
All right.
just trying to come up with different exclusions that I could put in front of that judge. One more I'd think about.
War.
Frozen plumbing because the roots have frozen it in place.
Birds. It was birds and vermin in the tree that caused the roots to get compressed down and then caused this damage. No.
Settling?
Settling. Yeah, I didn't.
Good job,
I didn't write enough in that one. It says settling, cracking, blah 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 of walls and patios and blah blah blah, and pipes is not on the list. But if you had like a sidewalk crack, then yeah, I'd definitely think about that one.
Faulty maintenance.
Yes.
Aha.
But again, this goes to how much do you expect out of the insured? Do you really? Are they supposed to cut down their tree, or
Clean out the drain
maybe
lines?
they? What if they already had a known problem and they're definitely going to have another problem if they don't do something about it? Then I think you could have faulty maintenance. Then you might also have neglect. You might also have failure to mitigate. So it would probably have to go along with a lot of other things. Going back to Brennan's comment in the beginning, highly fact intensive, uncertain, unless I'm going to say it the third time now, unless you have a tree root exclusion, if you clearly want to exclude tree roots. Okay, one bonus twist at the end of this scenario. Let's say pipe damage covered. We're going to say, sorry, none of these exclusions are doing it for us. We're going to cover the pipe. What about all that lawn, digging out the lawn, replacing the lawn?
Well, it would be part of the repair to get at the damaged pipe. So I guess if we're saying the damaged pipe would be covered, I think the cost to get at it would be 2.
Yes, part of the repair. Okay, but what if we say this was non-fortuitous wear and tear? Pipe damage isn't covered. Okay, what about the lawn now?
Me, that would be part of the maintenance of trying to fix your wear and torn pipe. But no.
Tear out costs, there's a few things you can think about. One is part of the pipe repair, just like Mike said, but obviously that's not this. A second one is part of the investigation costs,
Oh,
because it's your duty as the insurance company to establish that that exclusion applies. Now here, right at the beginning, I'm sure you don't remember, I said we camera scoped. So if you can camera scope, great. We already know the cause of loss. We know it's tree roots. There's nothing else we need to find out, and digging up that lawn isn't going to give us any more information we didn't already know. So we can't use that as a basis for tear out. Another one would be a special thing in the policy. If you have water damage, we didn't have any water damage here. And other than that, it's going to be hard to find any coverage for it.
huh. Or in exclusion. Or no, I'm sorry. I've confused myself now, Tim.
Any coverage for the tear out
coverage
when
for
the
the tear
pipe
out
is
of wear and
not,
tear. Yes. Okay.
yeah, when the
I'm
pipe
back.
wasn't.
I'm
covered.
back. All right. Good. Interesting.
Tim, we take away from this scenario.
To recap, tree roots grew into a sewer pipe. The pipe needs to be dug up and replaced. An exclusion for damage caused by tree roots, written clearly in the policy, would probably apply. Absent that exclusion, coverage is a gray area, depending on the facts and specifically how predictable or expected it was. Arguments might be made that the loss was not fortuitous, or that it's normal wear and tear, or maybe earth movement or faulty maintenance, but those would all be uncertain if gone all the way through court. Mike, where can an adjuster go to
Well,
learn more?
of course, you can go right to plrb.org. We have a frequently asked question about tree root losses that will cover all these cool, fun things. As well, of course, somebody out there wrote coverage questions regarding this, and here's one on tree root damage, fortuitous or non-fortuitous. That would be a fascinating read at plrb.org. Brennan, will you share these in the show notes, please?
I will, and there you'll also find a recap of the key points from this episode and links to our social media. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us, and please give us a call at 630-509-8704 and leave a voicemail to share your adjuster story. We'll see you
Yes.
next time.
The views and opinions expressed in this resource are those of the individual speaker and not necessarily those of the Property and Liability Resource Bureau, its membership, or any organization with which the presenter is employed or affiliated. The information, ideas, and opinions are presented as information only and not as legal advice or offers of representation. Individual policy language and state laws vary, and listeners should rely on guidance from their companies and counsel as appropriate.